The number that they referenced, and you're right, just the ACC, 126 million, whatever it was that he said. Okay, that's fine. If that were the case, we would have already done it. We should just do it, by the way, because you can finance that over 30 years and you're out the damn door tomorrow. That's fine. Just get on with the getting. Let's go. Let's get out. But if you're talking about the grant of rights, most estimations suggest somewhere near $600 million to do that. And that is a very different conversation and a very different number. When you combine the two, you're talking about close to $1 billion. Florida State's not going to do that.
I understand. And that's why I thought that window of 5 years or so, as of, again, the Texas and Oklahoma development, because this thing changed, the timestamp changes and the information changes. But at that moment, I said the light at the end of the tunnel is here, because every day you get closer to 2036, that settlement figure lowers in terms of what it is you need to pay. Because we're not renewing, we're not sticking around in the ACC for the long term. You're dead and you don't even know it yet, or you're ignorant to that fact. If you're Wake Forest, Syracuse, and Boston College. And I celebrate the fact that they're dead. I look forward to their death. It's going to be wonderful.
The Schadenfreude there, fine, gotcha. But here's the thing, though. You're hitting on something that I think has not been touched on. I think some of what Michael Alford was doing was signaling to those programs that you need to leave too.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to be dissolved. You need to ride. I said it rather crassly a moment ago. Time to ride, bitches. It's over. It's over. So why would you do it? Well, the number 8 is very important, because at that point, you have no grant of rights. You have no conference. You can go. You can just leave. If you get 8 people to say, yeah, we don't like it either, we're out, and everybody decides to go, then you've got, the upheaval you need to walk to break the deal. And I think he's trying to tell all those schools, if you can get a better deal right now, go to the Big 12, go wherever it is. If you think that's a more stable set of circumstances than what the ACC is going to be in 3 years, in 7 years, in 8 years, in 10 years, then you should take it. You should leave. Because, by the way, guys, what I'm telling you here today is we are leaving. You'd never put the genie back in the bottle. He just said publicly, I said it before we went to break, I made the joke that this is akin to one spouse saying to the other that they'd like to seek marriage counseling. And when a husband or a wife says that to their spouse, I'm not happy, I think we need to see a marriage counselor, it rarely ends well, everybody. It rarely ends well. You, my friend, are looking at the beginning of the end. Start banking on that divorce and figuring out which apartment complex you can temporarily live in while you seek housing, because it ain't going to come back around. Somebody fell out of love. Somebody did something that has upset the other to the point where now we are going to address openly and honestly the problems, the foibles of this marriage. My man went to the family reunion and in front of everybody went, I'm not happy with Carol. I don't know if I'm going to be at next year's family reunion. I'm sorry. It just needed to be said, everybody. This is the last one of these you're going to see me at. I really appreciate your cake, Susan. It's delicious every year. Bob, great job on the grill. I don't think I'm back next year. Carol and I got problems. And everybody, as he walked to his car, knowing that he had had one too many and addressed the elephant in the room, when I just didn't think it would happen. We all knew they were having problems. We all knew it. I just was surprised they made it through last year. But now, look at him. I feel bad for her. She looks terrible. So there you are. You're in this situation. Michael's like, yeah, man, this ain't it. We're done. And the whole league was talking about it that afternoon. You could go across the entirety of the ACC footprint, and I did this just for giggles. Go look at the talking points of all of the other programs in this league. Every show host that has a say about an ACC program, every message board that discusses this this was the conversation. Well, that's it. They're out. They're as good as gone. Yes, because they also know that represents the feelings of Clemson. And once the ACC loses Florida State and Clemson, you can call it a day. You're irrelevant. Basketball doesn't do a thing.
That's why it's such a relief to hear that officials at Florida State are willing to take the step, though. Again, it's a moment of joy, because they know this bell can't be unrung. And whether it's for an intermediate measure, which is the ACC pays us out more money right now, which gets us closer to the figure to leave, right? The more money you pay us now, the more we're just going to bank that away so we can pay you to walk out. Whatever it is, the change is coming. Florida State is going to be in a better financial position in the near term. And then it's just a matter of how long is that medium term going to take until we're out of the ACC. I love it, man. It's just we've had so many officials at that. The athletic department hasn't been structured as healthily as it is now. We've documented
very healthy. Pulling in the right direction, baby.
They're in a position of strength to be able to speak out loud where maybe some of the previous directors were not. But that said, the company line was always towed. Well, we need to make sure there's equal revenue distribution because the health of the entire conference is what's really important here. No, it's not. Not in this. It's us.
Neighborhoods, Tom, need to have proper tree trimming. We've got to make sure that the hedges look good in this subdivision, even though this is the lesser of the subdivisions. We got to make sure that we pay the security guard at the gate up front something, maybe not what we pay the guy in the back, but we got to pay him something.
15% of revenue generation, 7% of the payout. That was the figure. Meaning double our money. More than that. We are worth more than 2 times what we are being paid.
We don't even want that. I'm going to argue we don't even want that. That's a salve. They don't even care. They want out. This is just a means to have a conversation. They're not doing that. It doesn't do anybody any good. What if the ACC came back tomorrow and said, we'll give you 12%? Oh, we take it, but we're still trying to get the hell out.
Right. You take that lump of cash goes and allows for you to pay them off sooner. It's just whatever the case here, we are closer to finding a way out. The light at the end of the tunnel is, you might even see some mountains in the distance outside of the tunnel. It's not just this white light anymore. There's shapes taking form there. We're getting ever closer, and the university decided it's go time, and that's the important thing. They are willing to go on the record, and now what's the next step? It's got to be in the courts in some way, shape, or form, or with legal documentation presented somewhere. They know where this is going. You can't stop what they've done already.
L. Mitchell, you made me laugh. Carol is a good partner. She's just not the right partner. I can't believe he did it. He said what we already knew to be true. Yeah, I mean, it was such a breath of fresh air because we've all known this behind the scenes. We've all thought, well, who are we kidding here? I mean, this thing is dead in the water. Go back. You were there. I was holding it down in Tallahassee at the time. You were at the ACC kickoff, and when Jim Phillips got up there and meekly stutter-effed his way through that address, I thought, well, my God. I thought you were from Chicago. What has happened here? That was some of the most disgusting. Well, I don't want to get into that. It doesn't matter. It's in the rear view. The point is that day, that speech, I would, it's over. There is no secret plan I was unaware of. There is no out that I didn't foresee. He knows they're screwed. He basically got up there and said, I'm so sorry.
Save me, Jimmy Pitaro. Save me.
Somebody get me out of here. He was sounding the horn. Guys, I got to go. Somebody throw me a life raft. So, it was at that moment, everybody else kind of looked at each other, all the other programs, and went, when are we going to get the email? And you and I talked about it. It's like, fellas, the time has come. Now, I'm sure behind the scenes they were already looking at. I mean, dissolvement is worth pursuing to try to get enough people to be concerned about their own self-interest, that the conference could be dissolved. You got to get these guys thinking. I think that's part of what Alfred's doing here. And maybe, it's not a singular thing. It's, hey, Louisville. Hey, Syracuse, Boston College. You guys, this league ain't going to exist.